vast majority of animal life navigate through the aid of vision. The colors that we as humans see do transmit through the atmosphere quite well. By and large, our light source is the sun. So optical science is the study of light and usually its application. And I think being able to see all of these, quite frankly, beautiful displays of light in nature, for example, is my field of study. We see these things and you really can't help but find yourself being curious about what's going on.
Ever since I was a kid, I would look at patterns of light and shadow, and I would wonder what was happening when I brought my fingers really close in front of my eye like that, and I saw strange patterns in between them. And I guess I was always noticing strange optical things happening that I didn't know how to understand.
We've all seen rainbows, we've all seen daylight, and we've all seen darkness, but we don't all understand it to the same level.
It seems like there's no end of fascination to light and how it behaves.
I think people have been fascinated with light in all time because we can see the effects of light, but we can't see the light itself. I've spent a lot of time pondering the question of why did this happen in Bozeman?
When TMA was going on, I got asked that question all the time. Why Bozeman? Why are you guys in Bozeman? And the answer was because we love the town, we love the university, we love all the outdoor activities, and because we're good enough to get away with it. That's what we told them.
It's just a really great place to be. And there are lots of great places to be, and optics didn't happen in all of those great places. So obviously there's more to it than that. I think there was a fortunate happening where a few people were coming here to Bozeman willing to gamble a little bit and create their companies in an out-of-the-way location. And at the same time, there were several energetic people who were doing the same thing at the university, willing to gamble their research careers on being at a small, lesser-known location like Montana State University. And those things happened at about the same time. And together they formed just a perfect combination of synergy.
It really is, because people want to be here in the valley. I think 20 years ago, I don't think people even thought they were going to stay. It's like, oh, I'm going to get a physics degree, I'm going to get an engineering degree, I'm going to get whatever degree, and I'm out of here because there's no opportunities. How many people were hiring electrical engineers or physicists or mechanical engineers in the valley 20 years ago?
So the history of optics in Bozeman is relatively young, but yet it's also very rich.
I taught mostly electronics, and a course that I started that we loosely called electro-optics. Teaching was less fun, and the research was still fun, and here was this chance to go do research. And the way it ended up, the week I was granted tenure, I accepted a position to start or help start this little company outside of the university, but still in Bozeman.
And there was pretty early in Bozeman, and there wasn't a lot of optics going on here, but there were a few people here, and in this department, Rufus Cohn was here, and so that really played a role, because Rufus Cohn was here and John Stover was in electrical engineering, and I thought, well, that would be good.
When I arrived in MSU in 1974, there was really no laser activity at the campus. Pat Carlsten Chemistry was doing spectroscopy, which was my field. I was given $5,000 to start my laboratory, which sounds like a complete joke in modern terms.
But it turned out that some of the work that I was doing in Los Alamos wanted to continue to do that work. And we came here with a truck full of equipment, and very nice and expensive equipment, backed it up to AJM and Johnson and just unloaded it, and it gave us a really nice start to get the whole program going and get the lab going.
OpTeC was created originally as a mechanism to basically to allow faculty members that are doing optics-related research to get together and share ideas. So OpTeC, the Optical Technology Center, is this virtual center at Montana State University, and our optics program at MSU encompasses a very wide range of activities, and it ranges from the very small to the very large. We have faculty members who are working on research involving micro and even nanoscale optical devices and their incorporation of those devices into systems, and then all the way up to very large systems or large scale measurements, such as satellite systems that go into space to study the sun and the solar system.
In the early days of the Moses project, we started with no laboratory. We started with 4 walls, and but no equipment. It was just me and a bunch of students. We find ourselves in a very different position today than we were then. I've always been really privileged to work with students. We have, I think, at MSU, some of the most industrious and resourceful students that you could find anywhere. And they have managed to essentially build my program from the ground up. They let me do stuff in the laboratory sometimes, but for the most part, I just stand there and say, hey, why don't you try this? Or more often they tell me, no, we actually tried that already. So yeah, they're the ones who really make it happen.
At the university, we're charged with trying to explore new ideas, and we don't always have the luxury of pursuing an idea clear to the point of commercialization, where it's really ready to hand off to somebody who would be a customer of that technology. So it's terrific when we can have a partnership with a company like Bridger Photonics, who can take the fundamental research results and then invest the resources to develop that, to engineer it to the point where it's reliable enough to call it a product and to make it available to the public.
It was a huge asset to have MSU. We couldn't have done it without MSU. The fact that we could collaborate with MSU, the MSU had personnel, ideas, and the infrastructure for doing research that we wanted to do.
I would say that it's very common for students at Montana State University to work with local optics companies. We work side by side with Bridger Photonics to collaborate on multiple different MEMS devices.
Research-wise, I look at optical instrumentation for especially imaging devices. We're building microscopes that will allow us to look at tissue in the body so that we can do diagnosis of diseases like cancer. So the micromirrors we're building are variable focus lenses. They are reflective mirrors that act as a lens. If I have a beam of light reflecting off of a mirror and that mirror has some curvature, then the light's going to come to a focus. Kyle Oliver, he's working in the clean room making these membranes that we build our deformable mirrors from. The idea is to take a very thin membrane which has a metal coating over the top of it to make it reflective. That's our mirror. We apply a voltage, we get a force, and we cause the membrane to be attracted to the substrate, and that changes the curvature of the mirror.
Oh, research is really fun. First of all, you get to work with really bright people. Secondly, it's because I'm an engineer. I'm a problem solver. That's what engineers are. And research is all about solving problems. Here's this set of facts, or at least we think they're facts. There's this other thing we want to know about, and it's this problem. And sometimes they're easy, you solve them in a day, and sometimes they're hard and you solve them in a year or 2 or more. But it's fun.
To me, the most important reason is that I get to unlock the secrets of how the world works. In my case, how the sun works.
An optics bubble. Interesting idea. Sort of a sphere of influence, yes. And that's one of the things that's special about what we have going on in Bozeman right now and in Montana, is that we have a lot of interaction between the university and the companies. And that happens because companies are relatively young and small, a lot of them. And they're not so large that we have become sort of too slow and out of line to work with them. So we still have a lot of direct connections.
When you think of the kinds of things that you can do when you get a bunch of scientists together working on a really difficult project, you can't do those things individually. It takes a great nation to do them, at the very least. And for the really, really great things, it takes many nations banding together to make it happen. So I think there are all kinds of benefits for pursuing that kind of activity.